Dobar dan. Kako zaustaviti trošenje novca za fosilna goriva i odlazak ljudi iz danskoga otoka Samsøa? Problemi su koji su tamo počeli rješavati još prije 20 godina. U međuvremenu otočani su financirali izgradnju 21 vjetroelektrane. Energija iz njih zadovoljava potrebe 3700 otočana, a viškovi se izvoze na kopno. O pametnim otocima razgovarali smo sa gradonačelnikom Samsøa, Marcelom Meijerom. Mr. Meijer, what makes the island of Samsø so special?
Yeah, well, I think we think that our island is special in various ways, but one of the main ways is that we are CO2 neutral. We started an energy transition back in 1998, where we changed electricity production to wind turbines and PV panels, and our heating system changed to biomass-fueled district heating plants and heating pumps. But we still use fossil fuels in transportation, but the surplus of the energy that is produced by renewable energy is so high that we can compensate for the use of fossil fuels in transportation. So we're CO2 neutral, the largest CO2 neutral society in the world actually.
To spare the energy, to think on the public good, is that part of the Danish mentality or especially islanders?
I think both. But we're a bit special on an island. I think when you're on an island, you are very dependent on the other people on the island, and it's very clear. The borders of the society are very clear. So many of the investments that were made were not only made because people got a bit lower energy price, or because they got a small interest from the wind turbine, but mainly because they could see that back in the 90s we had high unemployment rates. And instead of using about 2 million euros each year on buying diesel that came from either Norway or Saudi Arabia, they invested in the local economy, thus creating a lot of jobs.
What was the role of the local authorities in that skipping to 100% renewable energy system?
Well, actually in the beginning the role of the local municipality wasn't even that large. It was an initiative that mainly came from the small enterprises, because they saw a possibility to earn money and to create jobs. What we did as a local municipality was actually giving guarantees for the district heating plants, and we invested in some wind turbines. Now, as we come to the issue of transportation, the role of the local government will get larger, also because we're talking about ferry transportation and transportation on municipality roads. So we will get a bigger role. But in the beginning it wasn't even that large.
How you will decarbonize the traffic system on the island and that connection?
It's a big issue, it's a big problem. At the moment, I think we do have more EVs on Samsø than you'll see on the average in Denmark and in Europe. But the national framework for people to change from petrol or diesel cars to EVs isn't there yet. It's still too expensive for households to change to an EV. As a local municipality, we use 80% EV cars to show that it is possible, and for us it's cost effective. And in the larger transportations, when we talk about ferries, we had made a new ferry from the local municipality that uses LNG instead of diesel, thereby already sparing 20% of the CO2 emission. And when you're using LNG, you can change to biogas at some point, and we hope to do that within the next 2 to 3 years by using our own biogas for fueling the ferries.
How do the renewables replace the old jobs lost in the past?
Well, actually, you can't say that we lost some jobs by changing to renewables. We only got new jobs, because you use the money to buy diesel, and the diesel didn't come from Samsø. So we actually created new jobs. When you look at the old jobs that disappeared in the past, we're talking about small industry jobs, and then we're back in the 70s, 80s actually. So there was a large period where there was rather high unemployment on Samsø, and we're talking about 15% in winter, 8% in summer back in the 90s, and at the moment you see 8% in winter and about 3 to 4% in summer.
Why the energy cooperatives are so important for social cohesion?
You can say the initiatives were made possible because we have a social cohesion on Samsø, and people joined in not because they got an advantage, but mostly because their neighbors or their cousins or their sons got an advantage, and they created a more social cohesion. And you can also see that now they have succeeded in the energy transition, and their energy projects has become a success. You can see they have the courage to try and make common or cooperative projects in other fields as well. And we can see that in agriculture, we can see that in broadband, and even in ferry transportation.
Are there many requests from the mainlanders or foreigners to live or to move to Samsø?
Yeah, sure, it's possible to move to Samsø, and everybody is welcome. And actually, we're 3,700 inhabitants, and 10% of the population is foreigner, which includes myself, and most of them are working agriculture, but we have 46 different nations living on Samsø, and everybody is welcome. Apart from that, we have a few thousand tourists, business tourists each year that come and visit our energy transition, and of course we're quite proud of that as well.
Did you sell your know-how about your social changes and energy changes anywhere in the world?
Well, for our energy transition, we use very common technology and existing technology. We don't have any research institutes or universities on the island, so there's actually not there's no magic about the technologies that we used, and we don't really sell it ourselves. But of course, like I said, there are a lot of business tourists coming to the island, and we'd like to inspire them. And when you look at the picture, when we became CO2 neutral in '98, actually there were more attention for that from abroad, especially from the United States and Japan, than it was from Denmark ourselves. It was only later that the other Danish municipalities got interested in our energy transition.
Mr. Meijer, thank you for the interview.